Hello, this is Lavinia at Cross Keys Crafts. I'm back from my holidays and I'm very eager to get back into card making. I have been back for 2 days and I have been crafting already, but I didn't film it because it was not card making related. And what I've made is one of my dear friends, Jill, she's moving to France very soon. And I made a pendant for her celebrating the seasons of the year because we are in a group where we celebrate the pagan festivals. And I've made this pendant. I don't know how well the camera picks it up. The lighting's not too good. And I've used acrylic paints and the background is mica powders, and then I used UV resin, and I've got different plants there, different little animals, and I've painted that in 2 layers. And I made this little wallet with my laminator and put in all the symbols of the plants and the animals, and I thought that was quite nice. And I noticed earlier that wants to get stuck to my magnets there, so just wanted to pop in to show you that. So, and to go with that pendant I need a new home card. And I thought I use this forest temple here from Lavinia Stamps. There are other sort of doors, but I don't think I've got any of those. So you can probably alter this for whichever stamp you have. And my idea was to have this bit here with acetate. And so I'm going to stamp on acetate. In my brain, I planned that this morning I was using StazOn. StazOn ink is a permanent ink, and I know that Lavinia Stamps say don't use it on the stamps because it can actually harm the stamps because it's an acid-based one. But when I just wanted to look for my StazOn ink, I realised I'd given it away recently. I gave it to a crafty friend because I bought the archival ink. This is what Emma Jo from Lavinia Stamps uses on her shrink plastic. I haven't really used it before, I think. I just bought a blue one as well. So it's a trial run, but this is acid-free, so it's less harmful to your stamps. The StazOn stains the stamps as well, and I think this is why this one is so black. So, as I said, this apparently is a better option. I've already got a sheet of acetate in here. This is just from a visor. This is a scrap. I only need this bit anyway here. So I've put this in my stamping platform because I think I'm less likely to slip. Because be warned, with some of the sort of permanent inks, they are a bit wetter, they can be slippery. So if you use a stamping block, you might slide. So that's why I chose this one here. So I think I've used it for one project, but I can't remember. So I'm inking this up. I can't really see much, to be honest. Even against the light, it doesn't come up as wet as you would have with a verse of fine clair. But I just trust that I've inked it up. I haven't done anything to that. I haven't used any, you know, like a spirit alcohol or so ever to clean it. I thought it was fine. It's just a small area anyway. So I'm hoping I've got enough pressure. And see what happens. This obviously wants to stick to it now. So once I lift it up, I think I can't do anything to it. Not quite what I have planned. It's a bit, there's not enough pressure there, but the details are really fine. So I think I'll just do that again. On the other side. And I think I'll get my pressure tool out as well. Just need to be mindful now, if I've got the paper like this, that will just cause a gap there, and then it doesn't help that I left the sticky bit on there, but I always leave these things in so you can see what can happen. I like to do this in real time, not like other crafters that sort of heavily edit their videos. So doing the same thing again, and I think I have to stamp a bit quicker and not leave it on too long, so just being mindful. Sorry if the camera's wobbling, but just applying plenty of pressure there and lifting it up straight away. What I should have done is really taken it off here and stamped it on there. So I've got the same problem again. Yeah, so what I will do this time is forget about that. I will do it this way around and apply the pressure there. So bear with me whilst I get another piece. So trial run number 3. This time obviously I have to be mindful not to shift it, but it's so sticky I think I might be okay. So there's my acetate. I'm just placing it down and then I'm applying the pressure. I think this is definitely better because I can actually see where I've transferred the ink now. And I really just need the inside bit there. So when I lift it up now, I'm being mindful that I keep my finger on there and I'm lifting it up like on a hinge so that I don't shift it sideways. Yeah, again, not perfect there. Don't know why that is. Maybe I've got some excess. I'll do a 4th trial run now off camera and see if I can get a better result. Well, that was transfer 3 and transfer 4, and then I figured out I have to clean my stamp. I thought my stamp wasn't taking the ink very well, which was a good idea, but on the next one I'm very happy with this. It was very dark, but I slipped and this is what happened here. So I stamped, this was 2, 3, 4, nope, 3, 4, 5. Attempt number 6. Again, I didn't transfer enough ink here, so I cleaned it again. Again, not enough transfer there. I cleaned it one more time. This is now a thicker acetate, but the final attempt here, I'm happy with that. So my recommendation is make sure your stamp is really, really clean. I don't have my Stays On remover anymore. My friend's got it. I might have to borrow it back. But I think I give it a good scrub with soapy water later. I might use some spirit alcohol to clean it off, because I think that was the issue, especially if you've got delicate areas like here. Also, yeah, the acetate might make a difference. And yeah, I don't think this is really easy to stamp with. I think it's just different, which is okay. It's just it needs some practice. So don't give up. I didn't. And I can use these now to check how quickly it dries. This is already dry. This is quite good. So, but as I said, I'm leaving this to dry on the side, and now I'm creating the background. For the background, I'm working on this sort of A5 sheet. I've just taken that from my cupboard. I think it's a little bit wider than A5. I don't know yet what size I want this card to be, but I thought I'd rather work on a bigger scale and then cut it down. And as a colour scheme, I've just brought out all my green elements inks. So I've got the lime punch, the olive and the pine. And I also fancied some purple, so I've got the flying fig here. I think that would be great with the green. So all I want to do really is to have some lighter green here in the middle, where we will have the acetate window, and then sort of have green around here, and then a bit of purple maybe sort of as the sky or whatever, or maybe even all the way around. I sometimes try not to overthink it. I sometimes like to basically, you know, let it happen on the paper. And I'm not fussed about getting a good ink blend because I will be coming in with some water anyway. So I'm just going straight to paper. I'm not going in the lid. I sometimes like this to be a quick you know, way of putting ink down. I know there are people out there who are very good at ink blending. I'm not really. So going to the second green here, which is in between the darkness of the lime and the olive. And I've had this one a little bit longer, so it's a bit drier anyway, but it blends really nicely. By layering the colour, you can intensify the ink. So if you find you've got too much white going through, looking through or coming through, just apply more and then you've got a more solid colour. So, and now we've got olive. This is a new one, so I will actually dab it off a little bit in the lid. Also, that's a little trick from Joe Rice, just coming in the corners first, although I would probably cut it down anyway. And then I can pick up the colour from the lid and go on here. And I can see my brush strokes a little bit, but once I've finished with this, they will be gone. So, and now I will be coming in with a purple, so I think I want a little bit more on the top and definitely a little bit on the side, just to frame this. I've got a virgin brush here, which is always exciting. I get these from Amazon. They're not all color coded. You get a lot in a like a bright pink or, you know, almost skin color or light coral, but some of them match my inks. So I've turned this upside down now because then it's easier to apply. So again, coming in at the top, and this is just so lovely. I think that's amazing. And again, you can see it's not really well blended. That's okay, because I'll be coming in with some water, and I find spritzing with water almost gives a sort of a distracting texture. But I could blend this in by just going over it multiple times. It's just sometimes I just don't have the patience for that. So, and I definitely want something around the edge. This is now where I have to decide what width I want this to be. Let me just check what size it is. See, this is just over 6 inches. So if I wanted to cut it to 5 by 7, I would have to take that into account. But because I'm hand delivering it, I might actually leave it at this size, because I do have 8 by 8 envelopes, so I think I will just go in with this. I should not have done this here now, where I went straight onto the paper, but I'm rolling with it. And looks quite muddled here now on the green. But It'll be fine. Also, I find sometimes the oval shape ends up, you know, like oval on the paper. So if you have got different, if you got like the stencil brushes from Lavinia, just show you one. If you got something like this, you might find that easier, but I don't work that, you know, I don't like to work with those that much. I find them a bit too hard. I prefer these softer brushes. So I'm just using the residue here now on this side. I've turned this over because I'm right-handed and I find that easier to apply. So, looks like a hot mess. Not a problem at all. I'm coming in with my water spray here now. So, I'm going to mist this, but I'm trying to not do it from the top. I want to do it sideways because if I've got any drops dropping off, they will land on here and will create bigger blobs. I don't want that. I really just want a mist. So I'm just taking it to the side here and I'm doing it sideways. So you heard me. It's quite a few splats there. You can already see it react here. Obviously, the darker the ink, the more it reacts. And I really like the look of that. Just checking against the light. The smaller specks here, but I'm giving it the time to react. And I'm also leaving this to dry. I'm not using my heat tool because I find if I don't use my heat tool, this will actually dry almost flat. If I use my heat tool, I'm manipulating it too much. I'm also stopping this reaction of the water and I don't want to do that. So yeah, for you it will only be a seconds. I will leave this for about half an hour, I reckon. So it is admittedly quite a few hours later. The panel dried really quickly, like in about 20 minutes. And you can see I've already stamped a sentiment here, New Home. These letter stamps are from the Textures range. It's called Reflections Uppercase Alphabet Stamp Set. I don't know if these are still available. I got these as a freebie when I once ordered from Craft Stash. And you might or might not know Craft Stash don't really exist anymore. They are closing down, so I don't think this is still available. Having said that, I think Lou Collins is selling her range through Craft World like Sam Calcott is, but I'm not sure. So I stamped that, by the way. I stamped that in the VersaFine Claire Fantasia, which is a dark purple. It's sort of mixed and created a sort of, well, muddled purple, but I like the look of that. I did go for this sort of curvy look because then it doesn't matter really whether you've got them all on one line. I like the look to that. So, and then when I finished filming, I thought, I hadn't really thought this through. I knew I wanted the acetate window, but I do not want to have the acetate window in this big panel and then having to back the whole panel to basically have the effect of that window. So I decided to cover another panel in ink. I just used the Elements Truffle and the Distress Oxide in Vintage Photo, and you can see it's really messy, but I don't mind that. And I thought I could stamp on that, cut, just show you this here, cut the main bit out. I'm not worried here about these little pieces here at the top, but I can sort of fussy cut this along the bigger pieces and then cut this out and then prop this up a little bit to have a sort of raised bit and the effect of that window. And so that is my idea, to have that in the front. And then the back I can then decorate with some other trees or other plants just to get a fuller look of the scene. I also, by the way, when I went off camera, cleaned my stamp. It's a bit difficult to see without anything white in the back, but it actually is much cleaner than before, so I think that made a difference for stamping on the acetate. So I'm going to stamp this in my VersaFine Clear Black Onyx, and I've already aligned it to stamp on here. I haven't chosen any trees or anything yet to decorate the rest, but I thought I'd do this first, and then, as I said, I will stamp it here on the brown as well, to prop that up. So as before, trying to get this as juicy as possible. With this one here now, as this will be covered mostly, it's actually the outer edges, especially the twigs or whatever they are, the vines at the top, that need to stamp properly. But it's also a good test how well this stamps with a VersaFine Clear. Yeah, see how well that stamps. So again, I've got a little bit there in the middle, but I'm not bothered about that because that will be covered. So, and this one here, because I'm fussy cutting it, doesn't even have to be centered. So I'm just plonking that on there. And again, I'll do it in the black. I thought about doing it in the brown, but I think it'll be a nice contrast if I do it in the black. And you have to be a bit mindful not to overstamp it on the side, but I have moved it, so it should really not be a problem. This time, again, I don't need the middle bit, but I need the main, well, tree trunks here on the side. And I'm happy with them, with all the details. Let me just show you that up close. Yeah. So I'm going to leave this to dry, and then I'm going to fussy cut this. Pardon me. I think what I will do though is I will colour this in a little bit with my Kuretake pens. I like using them, so which are brush pens, and they're quite vibrant. I think I just give that a little bit of colour. So I've quickly done very basic colouring, basically 3 different colours. I did not bother about shading. I used the number 72 for the tree, and this is number 92 for the steps here, and this is the 60 for the door frame. In hindsight, I should have used the 62 for the tree and then used something greyish, but it is what it is now. So, and in hindsight, I didn't actually have to bother about colouring this in. My original idea was different, but never mind. So I just wanted to show you fussy cutting if you've never done it. I'm not an expert, but what you need to do, you need some good scissors. And then what you do is you put your picture in there, and you basically move the cardstock whilst you're closing the scissors. You don't really move the scissors too much. You need to open them and push them all the way through, but then basically move the cardstock. I never knew that when I first started off, and I found fussy cutting quite difficult. So when I come to here where I've got like a twig, I just round this off now. I don't want to have anything there. I can just cut those twigs off because they will be on the background, so I can sort of just cut my own shape here. It's not the best image to be doing that like that, but I think it'll be okay. So I'm trying to stay on those twigs. Hope I'm still in the frame of the camera here. And I'm showing you a little trick in a moment. This time I'm actually moving the scissors. It's easy to get distracted there. Also, sometimes I use my round nail scissors, but this one's fine now. And at the bottom, I'm just doing a sort of wriggly line, again, just to mimic the roots there. if I feel like I need to come in with my pen again, I can do that. So not overthinking it. If you've got the time and the patience, you can do a bit more, but I think this will be fine. Oops, sorry. So I'm just getting my scrap paper underneath again. So what I like to do, first of all, I need to fill in a little bit the white areas there. And what I like to do is also colour in the edge, just so the white cardstock doesn't show from the front. There's a bit of excess cardstock there that can just snip off. So as I said, it's not the best stamp to do that with, to colour around. If you've got like, you know, like the archway or so, I think it'll be better. So the other thing I need to do now is to cut the middle section out where I want to put in the frame. So I'm getting my knife, which I can hopefully find. Bear with me. So I've got this craft knife here from Vedo. I think it's a German company. I find this quite good, but any craft knife is fine really. Or you could even cut into this with your scissors and then do it that way. So I just basically want to cut this out along the edge here, and again afterwards I will come in with my dark brown pen and colour in the edges of where I've cut, because they will show again. So I will do this off camera. I know this is thick cardstock, this will take me a little bit longer, and also I will move it a bit closer to me because I want to get the pressure right. So take your time. I might even change my mind and come in with my scissors afterwards. So let me just show you how I would do that. Basically cutting through the middle, and then I would sort of cut this generously so I've got some space to move about, and then I can come into the edge and work my way along there. So as I said, I might just get my smaller scissors out. I think this was actually a bit easier than using my craft knife. Here's my door frame or my archway here, so I'm happy with that. As I said, I've coloured the middle bit in so you can't see the edges of the white bit here. But what I haven't thought about is I should have masked this frame because I wanted this to be open in the back. Never mind, it is what it is. I will put lots of disclaimers in the video. I have already coloured in the twigs and branches here on the side. I think I've forgotten one here. Just spotted that. Again, didn't do a great job, but that's fine. I'm not bothered about the middle because that will be covered. What it is, if I put this one on top, I want the ones that stand out, and the ones on the edges, I want them to be coloured. So for the edges though, because it's a little bit bare here, I thought I'd come in with my Tree of Wisdom. And this one's great for basically stamping from the left and from the right. And I find that the branches here mimic the branches there. So I think this will be very good. I haven't checked yet how I want to place it. Whether I actually need this a little bit lower. I don't want to get too close. No, I think I will just do it like this. So because this means I can do half a tree on this side and half a tree on that side without it overlapping. Yeah, I think I'll just do that. So now that I've shown you that, I will do the actual stamping off camera to keep this video short. I've already got quite a bit of footage, I think. So I've put some scrap paper here on this side, and I will probably do it upside down on the other side to just get it in the same place. And I will also colour it in with the same colour there, and then I'll show you how we assemble the little archway. My trees are stamped and coloured in. I came in with the dark brown, the number 60, but I just used some sort of squiggly lines and then I coloured the rest in with the 64, which is the oatmeal. So I've got a bit of a mixed look there, but I'm quite happy with that. But I find these areas look a little bit bare, so I'm going to be brave, and I'm coming in with the verdant, which is a bright green, but I think it goes nicely with that. And I've chosen the woodland fern, but I think I'll just work with a small one. I just want to stamp a little bit here. I will probably do some first and second generation stamping. I don't want to introduce any darker colours, and at first I thought I need some masking, but I will just go for it. See, it disappears quite a bit anyway, so now the second generation disappears. So I think I'll just fill this in a little bit. Oh, but I forgot to mention the Kuretake pens, because they're water reactive, they did move the purple around a little bit, so you get a mixed colour anyway. So I think I will just do a little bit down here, although some of that will disappear. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I just wanted a little bit. So have a look in your stash what stamps you've got, what you like to work with. Mine is just to give you an idea what you can do, because normally I just stamp. I just do two-dimensional pictures with Lavinia Stamps. I never think about doing anything fancy. So when I had the idea with the acetate window, that was something new to me. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stick my window, which has got a wall here on the desk. Oh, it's here on the front. So I'm going to stick that just with some red tape onto the back here. Because it's symmetrical, I will actually turn it over and have the side that is the back. This is where I've stamped on. I will have this one facing the front. So, and with it being acetate, I think the red tape will be a little bit better. I've got this really thin tape here. It doesn't matter because it will disappear in the back if you've got wider tape. You can use liquid glue, but because I've stamped on it, I don't really want any solvent-based glue to shift the ink and to mess that up. So I think a tape is much better, but you don't need the red tape. You can use some ordinary tape. I did think about turning this into a shaker card as well. You can do that by covering the sides and then fill in some shaker elements, but I wasn't quite sure how much you can actually see here through that pattern, so that's why I didn't bother doing that. Sorry, I had to switch the camera off there for a moment. So I'm just peeling this off. Oops. It's always very static. I find it's much easier if you've got some pliers to do that. So I'm then making sure again this is the matte side on the back, and I'm placing it on the edge here at the bottom. Just zoom in, making sure this is where it needs to sit, and then I'm placing it down. As you can see, I've got some overhang here with a stickiness, but that's fine as long as it sits in there. Can you see? I really like that. Could probably have moved it a little bit lower, but I'm happy with that. So to prop this up, because I don't want this to be flat, because then that doesn't make sense. I really wanted this to be higher, and you can see at the moment this is why I thought I should have masked this. I think I might actually cover this with some plain cardstock before I stick this down. But to have a little bit of dimension, I've got some craft foam here. This is just some kiddies craft foam. I've got that in different colours. but you can use craft, what's it called, you know, adhesive foam. The only thing I don't like about adhesive foam is sometimes the edges are sticky, and I don't like that. So what I will do is here, I will cut some shapes, probably like the archway there, and maybe 2 layers, maybe 3 layers out of this craft foam, and all this a similar size anyway, so it looks neat from the side. And then I will stick this down again, I think with some adhesive tape, probably the standard one, not the red one, but I'll show you that once I've cut all my pieces. So I have layered some pieces here of foam. I used the red tape after all. I thought it's more durable. But when I thought, what do I have to put behind this, I remembered I've got loads of these fairy lights. And I thought, wouldn't it be cool if there was light behind that door? So luckily, this battery pack just fits at the bottom here. And if I move it to the side here, I think the recipient and I will be able to switch it on just by reaching behind this flap. And I can sort of hide the cable here round there and then put this behind the door. It will show a little bit, tiny little bit, the battery pack, but I think that's okay. I could, if I wanted to, colour this in, but I think that'll be fine. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use the red tape to just stick it into place first, so that I then know where to put my foam pieces. So that will just go here at the bottom, a bit to the side. So as I said, I'm sure I can hide the cable a little bit. So I'm pressing that down. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So, and then the cable will have to go somewhere here. And then if I then place my piece of foam right against here, then this will hold the cable in place. As you can see, I will have to cut it down a little bit. That's why I haven't done that yet. So I'll cut that just at an angle, and then I can again stick that down with a tape. So that's what I'll be doing now, and I'm making sure that the actual wire here with the lights will then sit in the window. Just have a quick look what I want to do with here. I think the other end here of the cable, I think I will just hide that on the other side of the archway and then come in here through that. I hope you can see that. I don't know how long this video is, so I'll be doing that off camera. I don't think I will be gluing these down because I think they will be held in place with my foam pads, but I'll find that out now off camera. I'm popping in to show you this. I have actually switched the lights on, so I can see that I've evenly distributed these little lamps. And I've actually unwound the cable for that and sort of spread them around a little bit like this. But because it wants to pop up, I've put some red tape here at the top and on the battery pack. And I'm just using a strip of the acetate to hold that in place. So just placing it on the top here, just to hold this down, so that when I want to stick it onto the card base, this is not popping out again. You see, that will stay in place. I need to cut off a little bit there on the corner, but this keeps it nicely in check. I've also glued this piece here onto the exposed red tape there, but I could have put some more on there. So if I check it from the other side, I think this looks okay. I've got a lot of wire there, but I think that I'm happy with that. So I'm going to continue putting some foam on there. I just see that I need another layer here of the brown foam because the battery pack is quite thick. So I shall be doing that on this side here, and at the top here I probably will cut this one down a little bit to have a thicker strip there, and then I'll show you how we can stick it onto the card. So I'm going to be honest with you, as I always am. Taking the release paper off red tape when it's stuck down on foam is a pain in the bum. It doesn't really want to stick down, although it's sturdy. Once you have taken the release paper off, it's really difficult to peel it off. So this took me quite a while to get the 3 layers on. It's much easier on cardstock, but I'm happy with that now. It doesn't look super neat from the side, especially on the top. I've got sort of different pieces there, but I think this will be okay. So the main thing is now that I'll make sure this is in place and that I stick this down where I've got the matching bit underneath. So I'm actually going to pull it closer to me, even if I'm going off camera a little bit. Please apologise. I want to make sure that I'm lining this up properly, and that's not even that easy because I have got I've cut it off at the bottom. Obviously I think I can see the twigs here on the side. If I'm a bit off, I think it doesn't matter as long as it's not super wonky. I think actually if I look at the pattern in the back, it's actually a little bit different, but it doesn't matter. I'm happy with this now. So let me zoom out a little bit. So in this now you can see why I wanted to colour in the sides a little bit. I could have done something to the battery pack there, but I think it's okay. So I've got quite a bit of dimension there. Could maybe have covered that a little bit better, but I'm happy with that. So as long as I know where to switch it on, which is just here, I might actually put a little score line there so the recipient knows what to do. But how cool is that? I don't know how well the camera picks it up on my screen. It looks a bit sort of blurry now, but I think this is fabulous. And I think before I hand it over, I will actually switch it on. It should be okay. It's LED light, so nothing should be burning. I've got acetate on the front, so that should be fine. So I'm going to create a card base for this now. I'm thinking about maybe creating an insert because there's quite a few people who have to sign the card, and I don't then want them to have to sign it on the inside and then not being able to write. So I have a little think. I already know because of the width of this card, let me just check that again, which is 6 1/4. I will not be able to use A4 cardstock, but I've got the little cardstock, which is definitely wider and higher, so I think I cut a card base from that. So I'll have a little think off camera and then I'll just show you the finished card in just a sec. Before I show you my finished card, I just want to show you this little cardstock I was talking about. I bought that about a year ago, but I think I've just read on a Facebook group, the Mixed Up Crafters group, that this is available at the moment again. It's a good size. It's, just check the GSM, 270 GSM, and it's 24 by 34 centimeters. It's a really good size, so it's very handy. I bought a few pads last year. I haven't used it as much as I thought I would, but if you're out and about a little, it might be worth getting the odd pad. So here's my finished card. I would have liked a large purple, a dark purple background, but I didn't have that, so I just went for black. So this card, now let me just switch it on as well. This card now measures 6 1/2 by 8 inches. Yeah. Oh, pardon me today. I've got a bit of a cough. I cut it down a little bit at the top because I want this to fit into my 8 by 8 envelopes, so I'm hoping I'll be fine there. And my idea now for the inside is, I haven't stuck this down yet. I will cut 2 of these panels so we can sign those, and then I can just stick them in before I hand the card over, or we hand the card over. I think that'll be fine then. But yeah, I think it turned out to be a good project, with a few disclaimers on the way, things I did that I shouldn't have done. And it was definitely a labour of love. Whether you like the look of these cut pieces, that's up to you. But I think with us having this stamp in the background, I think it works. And I think it's lovely as a new home card. Yeah, and if you like this card too, you might want to give me a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more of what I'm creating, you might want to subscribe to my channel. I'd be very happy about that. And I'll see you soon with another video.